558 of the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. I'm Sean.
And I'm Ian, and this is the only podcast that says
Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to man. For this, he was chained to a rock and tortured for eternity.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the opening of Oppenheimer.
Okay.
Yeah. It's on Peacock, if you're interested.
Okay.
I watched it.
Okay.
It's an amazing movie.
Yeah. Is it good?
Oh, it's very good. I mean, the only problem with it is you have to be interested in the subject matter.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of talk about theoretical physics in this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to sit here and say, like, oh, I understand theoretical physics, but like I have like a very, 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 very basic grasp of it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, and Nolan does a good enough job of dumbing it down that somebody like me can understand what they're talking about.
Okay.
I'm sure when they were talking back in the 40s about trying to create an atomic bomb, it was probably much nerdier than they were even. You know what I mean? Like, I probably wouldn't have been able to follow the conversation.
Okay.
But this I could. It was dumbed down enough that I could follow along.
Right.
It's a 3-hour movie, and it's like it's beautifully shot. Like, I mean, you know, it's Nolan doing Nolan things, but also it's like. Yeah, I mean, there's no car chase in this. There's, you know, I mean, there's a nuclear explosion at one point, but I mean,
Nice.
Yeah, but everything is involved with like when you think of like a massive summer blockbuster,
Okay.
that would make $1 billion. Like, you're thinking about an action, enthralling, edge of your seat thriller,
Right.
and this is none of that.
Okay.
Okay, I mean it's literally telling this story about, you know, J. Robert Oppenheimer and who he was and his place in history.
Right.
You know, and it's extraordinarily well done.
Okay.
And I mean, like Robert Downey Jr. is amazing in this movie.
Really?
Yeah, Cillian Murphy's. I mean, you expect that from him. Like,
right.
He's just. And like, for a guy who's been in a ton of Nolan movies, this is the first time he's the actual star.
Okay.
Okay, and he's fantastic. Every like, the cast is just a bunch of people. You're like, oh, I know that guy. I've seen that. That's so and so. That's so, like, you know.
Yeah. Right.
And at the end of it, like, it tells us a very interesting story that, like, I found fascinating.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to watch it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to warn you. I mean, it's 3 hours long, and it's very talky. It is a movie where you literally have to put your phone down and give it your full attention.
Right.
You know. But, you know, outside of that, like, I mean, I was happy to give it my full attention.
Right.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was very well done.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
I've been skipping over it,
Yeah.
but I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, it's worth the time. I mean, if you want to invest the time, it's absolutely worth it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So how you been?
Good.
Yeah.
The only thing I watched this with Bree today, I watched Bad Times at the El Royale.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah, it was good. Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
I can never remember. I'll just pull it up. John Hamm.
Yeah.
Hemsworth's in it. Dakota Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really good.
Yeah, as I recall, it was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. It was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, different but interesting.
Yeah.
And that's it. I didn't watch anything else. I didn't watch the Marvels.
I did watch a couple other things. I'll get into that in a little bit. Like, like, I was shocked when I woke up this morning and there was snow on the ground.
Right.
Like, look, and it's that funny thing when people are like, "Oh, it snowed last night." It's, you know, like what people don't understand is I don't look out my window.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no like, I worked last night. I worked till 10 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, I went downstairs and got a snack, you know, and then I watched a couple of things, and then I went to bed. You know what I mean? Like, that was, there's no reason, like, I'm not like somebody who's like constantly peeking out my window and shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, like, to wake up this morning and, like, realize, you know, I've got a couple inches of snow on my car. I need to shovel the walks before I go do my shopping and stuff. I was like, son of a bitch. You know, when did this happen? And people are like, oh, it snowed last night.
Right.
I'm like, I was completely unaware.
Right.
So that took me completely by surprise. And then I got to make an appointment to get my brakes done on my car. It's just one of those things, like, I know I need them to be done because it's, like, last year when I got it inspected, they're like, yeah, your front brakes are going to need to be done. And I got the back brakes done last year.
Right.
Like, you're going to need to get the front brakes done at some point. I'm like, okay, yeah, well, it's been a year, so I know that needs to be done. So that sucks. I've been thinking that's been weighing on my head.
Right.
And then I watched Oppenheimer today. That was about it. That's been my day.
The day.
Yeah.
I've just been working.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
But last night I did watch. I watched two things. I watched on Apple TV. They're having a docu-series, kind of like in the vein of The Last Dance, but about the Patriots dynasty.
Okay.
Now, what's amazed me is this is supposed to cover 20 years. It's 10 episodes. It's supposed to cover 20 years. The first 2 episodes have covered the first season, and they haven't even gotten to the AFC Championship game against the Steelers yet.
Right.
Like, the second episode ended with them winning. Like, and the thing people forget is, like, so, like, in 2001, when the Patriots went to the Super Bowl and beat the Rams.
Yeah.
The game everybody remembers is the tuck roll game. It was in New England, all the snow.
Yeah.
You know, Vinatieri hits the field goal to tie it and the field goal to win it, and, you know, the tuck roll. Like, everybody remembers all that stuff. But everybody forgets that was the divisional round.
Right.
That wasn't the AFC Championship game. They went and played the Steelers the next week in Pittsburgh. And Brady got hurt, was out of the game, and Bledsoe came in and won that game for him.
Yeah.
And then they went to the Super Bowl. So it's like, well, I mean, and that's a game that a lot of people are like, yeah, that's suspicious because, like, you know, later on we learn about, you know, Spygate.
Right.
You know, and apparently, like, 2 times in 2001 and again, Ben's rookie year, we played the Patriots and lost both times, and, you know,
Right.
shadiness ensues. Like, what's his name? Somebody, James Harrison said, at least, yeah, they cost me a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, there's not a doubt in my mind that they cost me a Super Bowl ring with that Spygate shit.
Of course he's gonna
Yeah,
say that.
like, you know, James Harrison. So, but I find it interesting. Like, despite everything, and I mean, there are people who are like, well, they, you know, between Spygate and Deflategate,
Yeah.
you know, they're rule breakers. Yeah, you're right. But at the same time, even when they were up against it, when, like, you knew, like, you still couldn't beat them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you know, Brady's been the 10 Super Bowls, won 7 of them.
Right.
And the only 3 that he lost, you look at and you go, well, you know, the Giants with that, you know, that the helmet catch fluky play.
Right.
Like, you know, and then the Giants again And that had Eli Manning dropping a dime right on the sideline to help to win the game.
Right.
And then the Eagles that year, the Nick Foles year.
Yeah.
With the Philly special and everything. It took a lot to beat. Like, if you think, in that time period, there wasn't a single Super Bowl that didn't have either, like, I think it was from 2003 to 2020.
Right.
There wasn't a single Super Bowl that didn't have either Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, or Peyton Manning in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is. It's crazy to think. But, like, that was, like, those were the three dominant teams.
Right.
And
we will rise to dominance again.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I do find it interesting because it's like, what was it like? Like, and it's also interesting to, like, see, like, players, like, they're talking to Ty Law and Teddy Bruschi and Willie McGinnis. It's not just Brady and Belichick. It's
Yeah, there's a wide range of folks there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of guys who are like, I have the utmost, like, Ty Law is the guy I have the utmost respect for. And I mean, they're Willie McGinnis too, and Teddy Bruschi. As much as I don't like them, I can respect them as football players.
Right.
And like, to hear what they had to say about, like, Brady coming in, off of Bledsoe's injury in the second game of the season, and it's very interesting. Like, that stuff is always fascinating to me. Like, I mean, as much as I love The Last Dance, I'm enjoying this, at least for the first 2 episodes, just as much.
Yeah. Cool.
Might be not just as much, because I like Jordan. Like, finding out he was a dick didn't bother me.
Who?
Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's a dick.
Michael Jordan.
Like, I mean, honestly, the guy's a dick.
I can't say that.
I can't. Like,
I know, I can't. I just can't say that.
But, like, at the same time...
I just can't.
I know. But at the same time, like, he's the greatest competitor of all time.
Ever.
Yeah. Like, and... number 2's Kobe, So it's like, it's that thing of, like, I get it, like, you're the greatest of all time, but you were a bit of a jag-off. But you were a jag-off because you were the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of, like, I don't like Tom Brady, but, like,
I don't think Jordan was as much of a jack-off as Charles Barkley. I fucking hated Sir Charles Barkley. I did. Fucking.
Barkley never bothered me. Like,
oh my God.
But, like, Jordan... I mean, the thing with Jordan was always... I mean, it was like, either you rise up to my level or get the fuck off the court.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, I know. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
I get why you don't like Jordan. I understand.
No, I love Jordan.
Yeah.
I'm just, like, there's a difference. Like, I understand, like, as a human being, you are probably a bit of a jag-off.
Right.
But to reach that level of excellence, you probably have to be a bit of a jag-off.
Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah. I mean, Kobe ran through a guy, his own teammate, in the Olympics just to prove a point.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the level of, like, dickheadery you have to reach to be an all-time great. And, like, so when people talk about, like, LeBron, like, oh, LeBron's the greatest of all time, I'm like, I'm sorry, he's at least 3, because 1 and 2 are Jordan and Kobe, and they had a level of dickheadery that LeBron will never meet.
No.
LeBron would never run through as one of his own teammates like that.
No, he wouldn't.
No. Like, LeBron wouldn't run through one of his friends like that.
Right.
I
think he punched Kerr. Jordan did.
Yeah, in a practice.
I punched him.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, like, that's Michael Jordan. Like, I mean,
he was driven.
Yeah. But I love Michael Jordan. Like, if you ask, like, if you had to pick, like, one player in their prime to win a game for your life, I'm picking Michael Jordan.
Every time.
Every fucking time.
Yeah. I know.
As much as I love Magic and as much as I love Bird, as much as I love... There's a lot of players in the NBA I've loved over the years. Man, I am taking MJ every fucking time.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
But I was trying to think.
And if I can't get Jordan, I'm taking Black Mamba Kobe. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
you got to.
Yeah.
I was trying to think if I watched something else on TV. I honestly don't think I did. I watched The Help.
Okay.
I know. It's a great movie. Plus, it has Emma Stone in it.
Yeah. Say no more.
Yeah. But I did watch that. There just hasn't been a lot on. I mean, and the time frame that I had. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to invest in the Marvels because I didn't. I just didn't. Because the other week I watched Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
And I put on Deadpool 1 last night and I fell asleep. I think I fell asleep right when he hit Colossus in the nuts.
Yeah.
Later, as the flashbacks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I didn't finish that. So.
Did you watch the Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah, I watched Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I told you so.
Yeah, I know.
I said if he gets the ball last.
Yeah.
You know.
I know. Was it pretty... I mean, I'm sure you liked it.
I did. I thought it was a very good game.
Right. I'm sure you did, because that's your kind of game.
Yeah.
But it was a sleeper until the fourth quarter. Third, fourth.
Yeah, I did. I loved it was a defensive battle. Because, I mean, there's a difference in, is it a defensive battle or is it a bad offensive game?
Yeah.
Like, there was that game earlier in the year between the Steelers and the Browns.
Okay.
They were, like the Steelers lost like 10-3 or some. Like, it was like some horrible score. But that was a horrible game.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that wasn't a defensive, like, clash. That was two bad offenses, like, you know, pissing on each other.
Right.
You know, so but this was like a very well played defensive game by both teams.
Right.
You know, and that's when you watch something like that, it's like, oh, okay, here we go.
Right.
You know, and then when the offenses find that little thing that they can get a drive going and get down the field, that's always exciting then,
right,
to me, because it's like, oh shit, they found it, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then like how quickly can you close that up?
Right, right.
You know,
right.
like that chess match is something I absolutely love, and when it's played well, it's fucking, like, you know, a masterpiece theater to me.
Right, I know.
So I did. I understand why you thought it was a snooze fest, but to me, I was like, oh, this is riveting football.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah,
that's our difference.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, it's what it is.
Yeah,
it's crazy about Purdy going all that way, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, like
and he's getting paid like what, $80,000 a year,
yeah,
$100,000 a year.
Like, that was amazing. That's the amazing thing. Is like until it's done.
Yeah.
So they've got him for another year at that low cost. Like, sign a couple of guys like 1-year deals and reload for one more big run.
Right.
Before you've got to pay.
You have to pay him. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, let's get off.
But I mean, he's shown those weren't like throws that any old quarterback could make. He was, you know, is just the guy on the other side of the field is probably the greatest who's ever laced it up.
Yeah.
You know, I don't watch.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Usher, so I didn't even bother.
Correct.
I mean, like, you don't have to like Prince just to acknowledge the fact that Prince is the greatest halftime show of all time. That Usher did, or The Weeknd did a few years ago. I mean, all that stuff that everybody else does is like, yeah. Prince just came out and played guitar and tore the house down.
Yeah.
You know, that's all he did.
Yeah, Prince was good.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
So, did you look up any of the trailers then? Did you watch the Deadpool trailer?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be good. It has to be.
I like how it's through the TVA.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
You know, there's a nice connection. Because the thing I was wondering is, like, what's the connecting piece?
Right.
And it didn't dawn on me that it would be the TVA. Mm. But now that it is, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. You know? Yeah, I mean, it looked... I was satisfied with what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they don't show too much of it.
I don't think they will.
Yeah, because that was the whole thing. Because when we went to see it, especially in the first one, like you had no idea what you were gonna see. In the first one.
Yeah, I don't recall like seeing it. Like,
the Juice Newton, that whole thing, and
like I don't recall like any of the trailers really giving away much of anything. Like it was mostly just Ryan Reynolds in the suit, convincing you to go see the movie anyway.
Right.
You know.
Yes, and that was a good thing.
Yeah.
But just the way it opened, it was good.
Oh yeah. Like,
the way that time traveled in that movie never confused you.
Yeah.
He told you exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because he breaks that fourth wall and tells you.
Right.
You know? And that's what I find, like, incredible about that movie.
Yeah.
The second one was good, too.
Yeah.
Not going to lie. But I'm telling you, I hope they don't show too much.
I don't think they will.
It's under Disney now, so I mean, like...
Yeah.
Who knows what they're going to do.
No, but I think Ryan, like, when it comes to Deadpool, I think Ryan Reynolds still has the stroke as, like, the keeper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's one of those situations where he's the guy who's like, this is how we're going to do this. This is the story I want to tell.
Right.
You know? Like, I'm sure, like, he had to collaborate with Kevin Feige on, like, well, how do we bring this into the MCU? What are the toys I can play with?
Oh, they're bringing 2 into the MCU, sort of.
Yeah.
That's kind of big.
Yeah. But how do you get it all to kind of mesh and work together?
Right.
You know, and but I'm sure, like, you know, when it comes to the marketing and stuff, you know, Ryan Reynolds probably has a hand in that as well. Like, this is how we need to market the movie.
Yeah.
You know, this is how we have to do this. This is how we have to do that. And,
right.
You know, I have no doubt he's very hands-on with it just because it's his baby at this point.
Correct.
You know, he's
essentially become Wolverine.
Yeah.
As far as Hugh Jackman goes.
Right.
No one else can play that part.
Right. No, I wholeheartedly agree, but also, like...
Probably more so than Hugh Jackman.
Right. But also, like, I mean, you know, the leaked test footage that he was involved with, like, you know, I'm sure he was involved in that being leaked out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of stuff, like, I mean, he... Much like Hugh Jackman, he is the even though it's only 3 movies, he is the caretaker of the character, right. For sure.
Right.
Like, you know, and I think he's very happy to do that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if anything, it's created a renaissance of his career because he was just kind of middling.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, you know, the funny boyfriend.
Yeah.
You know, like, he wasn't... You know, Green Lantern was supposed to be his rocket ship, and that, you know, went straight into the sun. You know? Yeah. It imploded.
Yeah. We're doing 120 seats belts off.
Yeah.
I mean, that is horrible.
So, like, I mean, he had, like, those opportunities, and it seemed like every single one of them kind of just, like, you know, crashed and burned until he got to Deadpool.
Right.
And after Deadpool, it's like all of a sudden, you know, he's one of the biggest stars in the world. He's a billionaire probably with all the other things he owns based upon the success of Deadpool.
Right.
You know, the gin company, the soccer team, you know, all the other shit he's involved in. You know, Mint Mobile up in Canada, like all that stuff is, you know, all comes off of the success he's had with Deadpool.
Yeah. I mean, he's had huge success with it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, like...
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did see that. I'm interested in the Shogun series that's coming out.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah. That looks good.
Like, I remember the original miniseries.
Yeah.
Way back when. My dad watching it. Because my dad also read the book. I'm half tempted to go and buy the book, but I also know the book is like, as thick as the Bible.
Yeah. No,
It's a couple thousand pages.
Yeah. Trying to think what else I swear I watched some trailers the other day, but I just can't. I don't know.
It was the one for the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, I saw that.
That looked good.
Oh, the Super Bowl trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was one other one. I can't think of what it was, though. I remember the one for Wicked. I'm not into that, but...
Yeah, I don't know how... I went over G's for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I wasn't here.
And then, the only good commercial was the Dunk Kings.
Yeah, it was fun.
Did you see the 5-minute one?
Nah.
Like, it's like they did a whole thing. Like,
Okay.
It's like it leads up to like them showing up at her studio.
Okay.
And it's hysterical.
Yeah.
And Affleck with that just horrible Boston accent the entire time. Like,
That part.
he's like, I ain't bored. I'm watching all of you.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's about it for trailers.
Yeah.
Silence.
Well, let's turn our attention to the sad news. I don't know if you heard this or not.
Huh.
As of June 1st, the Monroeville Convention Center.
Yeah, Bree told me.
Yeah. It's shutting down as a convention center and will be reopening as a Hobby Lobby.
Yeah, I just want to like,
it sucks.
flame on
Yeah.
myself.
And I'm not even talking about, people are like, oh, you don't like Hobby Lobby. It's not the fact that it's a Hobby Lobby. I can care less what they're turning it into. It's just the fact that it was, because not only did the Steel City Con come out of there, there were a number of other shows and conventions and
Tons.
stuff. It was a very busy venue.
Yeah.
And it was big enough that you could have a lot in there, but small enough that it worked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's a thing that sucks because it's well, this is going away.
Right.
So where do these shows turn to?
Right.
And a lot of them are they reach a point where they're too big. Like Steel City Con, too big to go back to a hotel ballroom.
Right.
It's too big to end up in I remember when they shut down the Expo Mart. The Steel City Con continued in it was an indoor soccer facility in Harmerville.
Yeah.
And I drove out because that's where I got. I went twice out there actually. One time I went out there for Anthony Daniels. I got his autograph, and then me and Nancy went out there. I wanted to get Ray Park, but I couldn't get his autograph for some reason. But that was also Lou Ferrigno, and there was a couple others that we But it was they're too big for that.
Yeah.
They've grown to a point where it's that wouldn't be sustainable.
Right.
You wouldn't be able to get they were outgrowing the convention center.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. They really needed to start thinking about we need to probably move to something bigger. But the problem is the next biggest thing is the David O. Lawrence Convention Center in downtown Pittsburgh.
Right.
And that's just a pain in the ass.
It is.
It'll be great for space and stuff.
Right.
But like I don't know how often.
I don't know where they're going to be looking. I mean, there's a lot of hotels that have capacity to hold stuff like that,
but not that big.
Radisson's pretty big at the airport.
I don't know, but I don't think it's that big.
Yeah.
Like I've been to the Radisson because Eden Park would hold their manager meetings. Like biannual, like twice a year, they'd have like manager meetings you'd have to go to, and I'd drive out the night before and I'd stay at like a cheap hotel in Moon, so I didn't have to make that commute.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's big, but I don't know if it's big enough. Like what the Steel City Con has become in size,
right,
is so big. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean they're gonna have to find something.
I mean it's gonna have to be. Like I don't know if it's feasible to go to the David O. Lawrence Convention Center. Like there's a lot. Like they have a lot of problems. And it's a shame because it's the only pop culture convention in town now.
Yeah.
Like the Pittsburgh Comic-Con got bought by Wizard World.
Uh-huh.
They ran a couple of Wizard World here at the David Lawrence Convention Center, and then that went away.
Yeah.
So this is it as far as like toys and comics.
Yeah.
It's on a scale like this. I mean, there are much smaller comic conventions. I know the people who own the comic book store in Homestead, down at the waterfront. They have a New Dimension. Yeah, they actually have their own Comic Con.
Yeah,
with like independent artists and stuff, and they do it out of David O. Lawrence, but that's only once a year. Steel City Con was doing it 3 times a year.
I know. It's just strange.
It is. I'm dumbfounded that like they decided that the company that owns the Monroeville Convention Center made a decision that they would much rather have a 10-year lease than rely on these shows, which many of them come back year after year or 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah.
And this is what they'd much rather do. I mean, that building doesn't sit empty very long.
No.
There's always something going on there.
No, I know.
So, I am perplexed by this, and I don't know, like, especially with Steel City Con or many of the other conventions, like the outdoor show, I believe was out of there, or there was an outdoor show that was out of there. I know they had a bunch of crafting shows out of there. There's a bunch of stuff that went through there, and
Gone. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that went on there.
Yeah.
Gun shows.
A lot of gun shows.
Yeah. It's kind of a shame for Monroeville because that brought business to all those places. I mean, it brought business to Monroeville.
Well, if you think about it, just for this, just looking from the state of the Steel City Con, because I know that best.
Yeah.
So that brought in business as far as people going to the convention.
Yeah.
It brought in all the vendors from the convention. Many of them were from out of town,
yeah.
And so they were staying in hotels in Monroeville.
Yeah.
Plus the stars that were coming, which is now like 20 plus people.
Yeah.
They were also, staying in Monroeville. So the hotels in the area were really getting business. A lot of people came from out of town. We know people who listen to the show have come in from out of town to go to that convention.
Right.
So like there's a bunch of, like, you're right, like, food, bars, like, all this stuff that like people who were out of town staying at the hotels would frequent. That's loss of revenue for them. The hotels are losing revenue because of people won't be coming and staying at the hotels now. Like, and that was 3 times a year.
Right.
You were getting that.
Right.
So, I mean, that's got to be, millions of dollars in revenue lost.
Oh, yeah. for Hobby Lobby.
Right.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense on a business end from Monroeville.
No.
Like, from that end.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that brought in a lot of money.
I agree 100%. It just, like, I don't know. Like, I'm sure, like, Monroeville probably has no say over it, except from a zoning standpoint, which I'm sure it's zoned for commercial use, which, you know, but, like, the renovation you're going to have to do to that place is going to be massive, too.
Right, I know.
Because for those who don't know, I mean, it was kind of split into two. There was a front section and a back section.
Right.
And the front and it was separated, you know, by like restrooms and stuff. But there was also like the snack bar. You know, so you're gonna have to rip all of that out.
Yeah.
And then like the back section, not only was it a convention space for like vendors and stuff, but there also had the halls, the
right.
Yeah, you know, for like the like
I know.
Q&As and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they had a really big room that they did most of like the bigger stuff in. They had a side room that was also for like the biggest stars. I think the last time I was there, like that was like where Chevy Chase was and stuff like they were off in that other room. And then there was like, you know, a third room, a smaller room for like, you know, other like the smaller celebrities doing Q&As and stuff. So I mean, like, there was a bunch of stuff that you're gonna have to completely renovate for it to be a retail space.
Right. Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I find it odd.
I do too.
Now, I was told that they only rented half of it.
Well, that would make sense because looking at that massive space, I can't see how Hobby Lobby would use it all.
Right.
But still,
I don't know. That Hobby Lobby up in Century 3 is massive. That's a massive building.
It is, yeah. No, I'm not denying that for a second. I mean, it is. It's huge.
It is big.
But I mean, like, I think that was before that was the Monroeville Convention Center. I want to say I think it was a service merchandise before that.
Oh, service merchandise.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, that's why it's so huge because it was something like that. Like, it was a massive store beforehand, but I mean, like, it was like a massive department store. It wasn't like a Hobby Lobby or, I mean, there's, plus, I mean, the other thing that confuses me is like right across the street is that fucking, there's another craft store, like, right there. Like, right across the street.
Yeah, it's Joanne Fabrics.
Joanne Fabrics, yeah. Shots fired. Right. You know?
I don't know. It's very strange to me.
Yeah, I'm just disappointed that it's going away because, like, for the longest time, the Monroeville Expo Mart was that thing.
Yeah. And
then the people who owned that decided they didn't want to, because I don't think it was used as often. Like, for some reason, even like at the time, like, Steel CityCon was using like 1/3 of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and like I know there were bigger shows. Like there was I went to an outdoor show with Jason Knoll one time. I was strictly there to get extra snuff for him.
Yeah.
You know, like, he like went to all these vendors like, just tell me you want some free snuff. I'm like, okay, free snuff. But like, I don't think it was used quite as often. Plus, it was like, you know, being up in the air, I think, was a problem for a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, so like the convention center made more sense once they kind of got that up and running.
Right.
And the Expo Mart turned into CVS Caremark uses that entire thing now, I think.
Yeah. I think they just need to build a Cinema World again.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's face facts. I mean, any day now, Best Buy is going out of business. You know.
Yeah.
You just turn that back into a cinema world.
Yeah. Every time I go to the movie theater up there, though, it's never crowded. Ever.
I've been in there when it is crowded.
Okay.
Like, I think, like... Like, I mean, I've been in there in the IMAX theater, and that's when, like, I would buy 4 seats so that nobody sat next to me and Nancy.
Yeah.
You know, and the rest of the theater was pretty much filled.
Okay.
Because I had somebody even walk up to me and go, "Did you buy those seats?" I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "That's a baller move." I'm like, "Yeah, it is. I'm paying extra." But yes, I mean, but I've also been there where, like, you know, what was it that I went to go see? And I was like, nobody. I think it was Godzilla -1. No, we went to that was down at home, so we saw Godzilla -1. I went to go see something. It was like the first time because the only theater I've ever been in there is the IMAX theater.
Right.
And it was like the first time I was in a non-IMAX. Like when we got to the ticket person, they're like, "Well, you make a right." And we're like, "There's movie theaters over here?" Because we'd never been down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, wow, I've never been down here. I can't remember what it was we went to go see. It was the first time we saw a movie that wasn't an IMAX in that theater.
Yeah.
So, but it was like me and Nancy and like nobody else. There was like maybe 3 other people.
Okay.
Yeah. I wish I could remember what that was. I know what it was. It was when we would go see the Iron Claw.
Okay.
We saw it up there.
Okay.
Because we saw Godzilla -1. It wasn't showing up at Cinemark. It was showing at the waterfront, and we wanted to see it in an IMAX, and they had it in IMAX. So
I don't think I've ever seen an IMAX up in Monroe. Is it true IMAX?
no, it's what I can't remember what they call it. It's not IMAX, but it's basically IMAX.
I see.
Like, I can't remember what they call it. All right, so moving on to good news.
He even looked like a monster. That's what I was gonna say.
Oh yeah,
Like his face, his head. I mean, he was just strange body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, God, it's crazy. Anyway, okay.
For those who don't know what we're talking about, I was replying to a tweet while Ian went to the bathroom. Somebody said, "Is Ray Lewis the scariest player in NFL history?"
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, we were off, Mike.
Yeah.
And my reply was, "Jack Lambert would like to have a word with you." And Ian's like, "He's not even the scariest player in Baltimore history. That's Charles Suggs."
Man, he was fucking.
Yeah, so
He was just frightening.
he was.
He was huge.
He was a. I mean, you know, broke Ben's nose.
Yeah. Yeah, he broke our quarterback's nose.
Yeah.
Dare he?
Did you ever hear the story Ben tells about that?
Nah.
Like, they call it timeout. And he's like, "My nose is all over my face."
Yeah.
You know, and I come to the sidelines during this timeout, and nobody's looking at me.
Yeah.
And I ask, like Mike won't even look at me. Coach Tomlin, he's like, he's not even, like, head down, eyes down, not even looking me in the face. Like, is it that bad? I'm like, yeah, it is.
They just reset it there, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even then, it really wasn't done right. He said you had to go, you know, I think after the game, they had to do it properly.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
For the game, they had to reset it.
Yeah. Yeah, he just kind of like tried to. I don't know what they. I mean,
You can reset it.
yeah.
Put some tape on it.
Yeah. Anyway, in the good news department,
Yeah.
Marvel has announced who the Fantastic Four are.
I heard this.
Okay.
I heard this.
Yeah. So we knew Pedro Pascal was going to be
Reed
Richards. Vanessa Kirby is playing Sue Storm. Ibn Moss Barak as Ben Grimm.
He's cousin on the bear.
Yeah, and Joseph Quinn will be playing Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
And so Vanessa Kirby, if you, the thing I most know her from, she was in The Fast and the Furious. She was also in Hobbs and Shaw. I think she plays Shaw's sister.
Yeah.
But also she was in the two most recent Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah.
So there's that, and Joseph Quinn. He was in Game of Thrones, but he was also in most notably he was in Stranger Things. He was he was Eddie.
Okay.
Yeah,
and he's gonna be
Johnny Storm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, good for him.
Yeah.
No, really.
No, I agree. And Eldon Moss Bachrach, he, like you said, he is most known for playing Cousin Richie in The Bear.
Yeah. And Doom's been cast, right?
No.
Oh, I thought he was.
No, they have not announced anything about Doom.
Huh.
Now, what people are speculating, though, and this is what I found very interesting, and I'm kind of intrigued how they work this into the mythology, because they released not a poster, but it was like an announcement type of poster.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's set in the 60s.
How are they going to do that?
I don't know. But that, like, the way let me see if I can find it here real quick.
Because, I mean, like, if you go in the 60s, then you can't have them stay current day because the Fantastic Four would have never existed back then, right? Is now the timeline works?
I think, yeah.
So Galactus would have already destroyed the planet.
So that's the picture.
Huh.
Now, the speculation stems from one, it looks kind of retro here, but also it looks like the Thing is reading a copy of a Life magazine, and based upon how the cover looks, people are speculating this is a cover of Life magazine of Lyndon Johnson in 1963.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is what has led to the speculation on, well, this is going to take place in the 60s.
Interesting.
Like, I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah, but I don't know how they're going to fit it.
Right. Because it would have to be like, how do you explain the existence of the Fantastic Four? Like, they got away with Cap because he's frozen in ice.
Right.
And you get away with Captain Marvel because she leaves.
Right.
But between those two, like, how would you explain, like, the Fantastic Four then? And that drastically limits what you can do with the Four.
Yeah.
Because, supposedly we didn't know about aliens until Captain Marvel.
Right.
And, all the other, like, everything is like, you can't have them going off with fighting the Skrulls. You can't have Galactus, and Surfer can't, like, all that shit that's like Fantastic Four. Like, you're literally like limiting yourself to like Doom and the Mole Men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I'm not opposed to it. I think like a period piece as a superhero movie is like a great idea.
Right.
But like, if we're building towards the future of the, like, how do you go backwards and then now Reed's like, in modern day he'd be like 80.
Right.
Do you say, well, like, because he's elastic, he doesn't like it wouldn't make sense from a story standpoint to do that as far as the overall cinematic universe, because then you're just kind of doing it as like a one-off, in all honesty.
Right.
And Doom isn't a threat because Doom would be from
66 Galactus was introduced.
Yeah. But still, like just from the standpoint of in store, like you couldn't have a global threat like Galactus show up.
Right.
And only had the Fantastic Four standing in his way.
And what are they going to do about Kang?
Well, I mean, that's like still up in the air on whether or not you just recast the actor and continue with what you were doing, or do you kind of like, because Loki kind of gives you a reset.
Yeah.
Even though Loki didn't mean to give you a reset, Loki kind of gives you a reset.
Yeah.
And so that you can kind of say is taken care of if you don't want to recast the actor. And then, like we talked about a couple months ago, Kang Dynasty now becomes Doom Dynasty.
Right.
You know, like that was like, you know, who's the next best villain? Like, you know, well, Doom is your guy.
Right.
He's the Avenger level threat.
Right.
You know, and you introduce him in the Fantastic Four movie. But if you're setting in the 60s, Doom isn't that guy anymore.
Right.
Because Doom would be in his 80s.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So, like I'm kind of like, I'm on board with like, hey, we're doing it in the 60s. But I'm also kind of like, it doesn't make any sense if you do it that way. Because from a story standpoint, you're limiting yourself on what you can do with them.
Right.
Like, you know, maybe you get two or, but I mean, like, on all honesty, who wants to see the Fantastic Four against the Mole Men?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Like, I mean,
I don't think you were going to get that.
No. But it's just that odd thing of like how much you limit yourself.
I don't know. Whatever they're going to do, it better be a fucking good movie. No, seriously.
I agree.
I mean, they have ruined it.
Right.
And, like, it better be a good movie.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. Because if they ruin it again, they're done. Like, you can't bring them back.
No.
Like, that's it for them.
Yeah, I agree.
So, and it's a shame for the property. But if you ruin the Fantastic Four, yeah, it's over.
Right. I wholeheartedly agree.
And they've been teasing, you know, with Reed Richards and, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
And so you better make it fucking good.
Right. I'm right there with you. I absolutely agree, because it is that. It's that franchise. It's that property. It's like that and the X-Men have such a bad taste in your mouth.
Right.
Like, when you do it, you better do it right. You better do it justice. You know?
Right.
Because if you don't, it's buried forever.
Right. Oh, I know.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. And you know, it is that thing where, like, it's you feel like a lot is riding on that property.
Right.
Because, I mean, I hate to say it, but Marvel is in a bit of a tailspin at the moment.
They are.
I mean, they've put out. I'm not going to call them clunkers, but they haven't done well at the box office.
Right.
And I think part of the problem is it is really hard, and I do mean really hard, to continue after Endgame.
Yeah, I know. Believe me.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
such a
defining moment.
Yeah, I mean, how do you live up to that? And we've talked about this.
Right. And also, like, the thing I've always said is, because people have always been like, where is he? There's a superhero bubble. And you're right to a certain extent.
Right.
Like, absolutely. Like, I think there's going to come a point where general audiences aren't flocking just because it says Marvel. And I think it's happening now.
Right.
But I've always said that there will always be a market as long as the movies are good.
Right.
And
yeah, I don't think Shang-Chi did very good.
I think it did.
It did okay, but I don't think it was like blockbuster.
Well, let's take a look.
I liked Shang-Chi.
So did I. So that's let me go in the old IMDb here. So Shang-Chi. Now, here's the thing. So this comes out. What year did this come out? So this came out September 3rd, 2021. It had a budget of $200 million.
Holy shit.
Yeah. The total gross in the U.S. and Canada was $224,543. Or no. Yeah. Yeah, $224 million. Yeah, basically, $224 million total in the U.S. and Canada. Worldwide, $432 million.
Yeah, it didn't make its money.
No. Because when you throw on top of it, like, ad campaigns and stuff, like promotion, it broke even at best. So, like, what came after that? Like the
Doctor
Eternals.
Strange, right? The last Doctor Strange movie.
Well, there was the Eternals.
That bombed.
There we go. That also came out in 2001.
2001?
Yeah.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, it did.
Not in 2001.
Well, 2021, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Jeez. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
That's okay.
Okay, this also a $200 million budget, estimated.
Right.
It makes, in the U.S. and Canada, $164 million total.
Right.
$402 million worldwide.
So it did better worldwide.
Slightly.
Yeah.
But it did a lot worse. Like, we're talking like 70 million different U.S. Canada. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I mean, like the problem becomes so Spider-Man doesn't count because like Spider-Man does well. Spider-Man's known property. Spider-Man did really well. That was like $1 billion.
What was it? $1 billion?
Probably, yeah. Like, I'm willing to bet that made huge money. Like, Doctor Strange, $200 million again, estimated budget. U.S. Canada gross, $411 million. Worldwide gross, $955 million.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So Doctor Strange does well. I'll look up Spider-Man. Spider-Man No Way Home. So that has... There. So again, as all Marvel movies, estimated budget $200 million. U.S. and Canada, it made $814 million. Worldwide, $1.9 billion.
Nuts.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing you got that with Spider-Man, though. Spider-Man, known commodity.
Right.
So everybody knows the Spider-Man franchise. Plus, you get the rumors of, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire coming back.
Right.
So that movie was a rocket ship.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, Doctor Strange does well. This is a rocket ship that's completely of its own design.
I agree.
But you look at the Eternals and Shang-Chi, they're on the struggle bus.
Right.
And all honesty, like, the Eternals was just okay. Shang-Chi, I think, was a very good movie.
So I thought it was fantastic.
I thought it was fantastic. But the Eternals was like
not that great.
Yeah. It leaves you with the unanswered, there's a giant fossilized god in the middle of the ocean. Yeah. Why hasn't anybody addressed this? Like, we've gone several movies and TV shows and nobody said shit about the fossilized god in the middle of the ocean.
Right. You can't tell me that what's his name hasn't found that.
What, Nick Fury?
No. The guy in the ocean.
Namor.
Yeah, you like Namor hasn't even heard a speck of something like that in the ocean. There wasn't a fish that came back and says, "Hey man, check it out, man.
You're not gonna believe what the fuck I saw.
I saw fucking something crazy."
I mean, I thought I was high on starfish,
right.
But woohoo!
Fucking clownfish from fucking Saving Nemo comes by.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, come on now. Child, please.
And speaking of which, like, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, that had an estimated budget of $250 million.
Uh-huh.
Total gross U.S. and Canada, $453 million. Worldwide, $859 million.
So it did well.
It did well, yeah. All right, so 2 other movies. Thor: Love and Thunder, which was just okay.
Yeah, I liked it.
$250 million budget. U.S. It made, U.S. and Canada, $343 million.
Right.
Worldwide, $760.
It did well.
It did all right.
Worldwide, it did fine.
Yeah.
Those are your numbers.
Right. And then lastly, here's the dud, and that's the Marvels.
Yeah.
Estimated budget of $220 million.
Uh-huh.
In the U.S. and Canada, it made $84 million. Worldwide, $206.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah. Now, I think a great deal of that is nerd backlash.
Yeah.
Because, it's woke. It's got 3 girl superheroes.
Who cares?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I certainly
Why are
don't.
we still on this gravy train?
I don't know. Because in all honesty, like, guys suck. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. We as men suck. Yeah. I'm not going to deny it. Now,
I can say this. Okay. With certainty. And this is what I believe.
Right.
I don't think this is pushed. I think this is a movie. When I watched Endgame, that part was pushed in there.
Right.
That was shoehorned in there.
Right. I agree.
Shoehorned.
Yes.
Which pissed me off. That did piss me off because it was like, it just didn't fit to me.
Right. No, I
do you know
agree
what I mean?
You.
Like it just happened on that entire fucking battlefield.
Right.
That 9 women show up.
Right.
I was just like,
right.
She's not alone. He's not alone. Or whatever they said.
Right.
And I was just, I thought that was very shoehorned in there.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I agree.
But you want to show true power of a woman of a woman superhero with Scarlet Witch taking on Thanos.
Right.
Now that is Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Like that moment
was badass. That
moment was more powerful than the girls all showing up at one time.
Correct.
Captain Marvel taking down the ship, beating the fuck out of Thanos before.
Yes.
That was, again, like those 2 moments, like the Scarlet Witch moment and the Captain Marvel moment are badass moments. Like what happens.
And they were epic in that battle.
Right.
The only other epic part in that whole fucking, I mean, not in the whole battle scene, when there was a couple for me.
Yeah.
I mean, like, when Spider-Man turned on death mode.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Chills.
Yeah.
Because I know that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Cap picking up the hammer.
Yeah.
Badass.
Yeah.
Witch was unbelievable.
Saying Avengers assemble.
Yeah, well, that, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you know, I mean, the running of the forces in.
Right.
Oh, that was a chill moment.
Right.
That was like right out of Braveheart.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, that was a comic book splash page.
Oh, it was unreal.
Yeah.
And to see Ant-Man,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Giant
Man, or whatever you want to say it, coming in like that and just knocking the shit out of that thing.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is the comics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is like off the page, man.
Right.
You know, this is what I read as a kid.
Right.
You know? So yeah, I mean, there were some really good moments in that scene, but I really felt that scene was pushed.
Yeah.
Hardcore. And it didn't need to be. It didn't need to be.
I thought it was done better in Infinity War, where Widow and what's the name from Game of Thrones, not Game of Thrones, from The Walking Dead, when they're fighting the chick from Thanos' army.
Oh yeah.
And then the witch shows up and what was she doing in the tower the whole time?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Like, that was a better girl moment than, like, having them all show up at one time in Endgame.
That moment when the witch had Thanos, he was like, rain, fire.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I was like, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I like how he beat Captain Marvel, too.
Yeah.
That was badass.
Yeah.
It's the only thing he could do.
Yeah.
Because she had him.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, it's stuff like that.
It shows you the thinking of Thanos.
Right. Exactly.
And that was even better.
Right.
You know?
But it was like, but getting back to, like, so, like, you get the Marvels.
And Doctor Strange, I thought Doctor Strange was this huge part, and he wasn't. He was just holding the water back.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he had a couple moments.
Yeah.
They all had their moments, which I truly appreciated.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like each one, and I like how they panned it and how they showed each one of them.
Yeah.
When Tony was up with Pepper,
Yeah.
in the air like that, I was like, oh man, that's good shit.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good moments, but I just felt like that it didn't ruin that scene, but it took away from it for me, that whole battle.
I wasn't mad
I
about
thought
it.
It was corny.
That's what I thought. I thought, well, that was corny.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't mad that they did it. Like, so many people were, like you were. Like, but it did leave, like, a bad taste in my mouth of, like, Velveeta.
Yeah.
You know?
I thought it was badass when Panther was like, give it to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he started jacking people up. I thought the whole thing was good. All for naught, because, you know,
Yeah.
Thanos blew the shit out of that van.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, but getting back to, like, the Marvels and how they fail.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's like, it is that thing of, like, we don't want girls. I'm like, why not?
Yeah, there's so many female superheroes in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
I mean,
like, the prime example is this weekend Madam Web opened up. Now, I have no intention of seeing the movie, not because it's got girls in it, but because it looks fucking awful.
right.
Okay? There's a difference, you know, but you're talking about, like, you know, 4 badass woman superhero. I mean, Madam Web isn't so badass, but I mean, like, the others are.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Like, there's a lot going on there. I mean, like, that would be badass. I mean, too bad it looks fucking horrible.
Look at Jessica Jones.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, like, we can go on and on about female.
But I mean, like Captain Marvel was a really good movie.
Yeah.
I like Brie Larson's portrayal of Carol Danvers. I liked it in Endgame. I liked it in the Marvels. Like, now the question's like, well, why didn't you see it in a theater, Sean? Well, because I have limited money and there were other things I wanted to see. Such as Godzilla -1.
Right.
You know, that's why. You know, so I had to pick and choose, and I picked Godzilla -1 over the Marvels.
Right.
Because I knew at some point I'll see the Marvels on Disney Plus. I'm only going to get to see Godzilla -1 in the theater, probably.
Yeah.
You know.
And I thought it was, I thought that the movies were all pretty balanced, men and women.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
I mean,
what's her name? Van Dyne.
Yeah.
Going to Guardians with Gamora and what's her name? Her sister. I thought that it was a well balanced. I thought the whole thing was pretty well balanced.
Yeah.
I mean, your top two were Cap and Iron Man, but I mean, like,
yeah,
that's who they were. But I mean, you had Witch, you had fucking Black Widow, you had. If you want to go into X-Men, I mean, like, God, there's a ton.
Yeah.
Including Cyclops, which is always one of my favorites.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't understand where they're coming from.
I don't either, but because it's like that whole thing, like it's the same mentality I don't understand with Taylor Swift. Because all I've heard since probably November is how Taylor Swift has ruined football. And, like, first off...
Why?
Well, here's the thing. So, first off, what has the Taylor Swift effect been to football? Well, she has brought in an entire generation of young girls who are watching the sport.
Right.
Because of her, they're watching the sport.
Right.
Okay? That's phenomenal. That's great for football. It's creating more fans, which creates more revenue. They're buying up Travis Kelce jerseys. They're buying up Chiefs merchandise. I don't care who the fuck they're rooting for. They're just they're watching the game.
Yeah.
They're learning the game.
Yeah.
You know, they're not sitting there just waiting for Taylor to show up on the screen. They're learning the game of football.
Right.
You know, every person I've heard who says, yeah, my daughter watches football now and it's because of Taylor Swift and I've taught her what the game is, like, that's...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's phenomenal. She's on screen a total of 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like every other play, we get a 1 minute of how is Taylor reacting. It's 30 seconds total on a 3-hour broadcast.
Right.
And the other point I would make is, so if it wasn't Taylor Swift, who would it be? It would be Travis Kelce's mom. It would be the wife of the head coach. There would be some other girlfriend or relative. She's not as popular. She's not a billionaire like Taylor Swift is. You know, whatever your problem with Taylor Swift is, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like she, for the Super Bowl, she was on screen a total of like 30 seconds to a minute.
Right.
Somewhere between there. Like, didn't ruin my viewing of the game.
Right.
But people complain. Like, how dare I'm not watching the Super Bowl because of Taylor Swift. What?
Right.
That makes no fucking sense.
Right. That's dumb.
It is.
Whatever.
Like, whether you like her or not, like, it's not like she has an influence on the game.
And I don't think she's there for publicity.
No.
She's big enough.
Yeah.
She's a gazillionaire.
Yeah.
I mean, truly.
Truly.
She doesn't need the publicity. She's
No.
just there with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It just so happens he's a tight end. Like, I don't like Travis Kelce.
Okay.
Like, I haven't liked him for years. Like, people are like, oh, I don't like Travis Kelce now because he's dating Taylor Swift. Like, I haven't liked him since 2016 when he boo-hooed about being called on for holding against James Harrison in a playoff game where he was clearly fucking holding.
Yeah.
Like, and he boo-hooed about it. Like, I didn't do anything. You can't call that holding. Not at that moment in the game. You fucking held.
Yeah.
You held at the time the best pass rusher in the league.
Right.
You clearly almost damn near choked him.
Yeah.
And you're boo-hooing because they called the holding call.
Yeah.
Too bad, so sad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so ever since then, I've been like, I don't like Travis Kelce. He's a dick. You know? But I don't give a care. Like, he's dating this chick. Who cares? Like, again, it's not like she's down there on the field influencing the game.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I know.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, I even saw somebody like once tweeted, like, you know, if Travis Kelce wins the Super Bowl, he gets a $47 million paycheck, or it's like, it was or a $47,000 paycheck for it. Now we know why she's dating him. I'm like, $47,000 to her is like, you know, tipping money.
Yeah, she's worth
billions.
Way more than Travis Kelce.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, it's like this funny thing of, like, how people, like, are so, like, and I just don't understand it. And it bugs me because it's that thing of, like, are we angry that she's famous and rich and she's a woman? You know, would you feel better if that was like Bill Gates on the screen?
Yeah.
You know, would you feel better if, like, you know, it was some other, like, you know, if it was, you know, Ed Sheraton, you know, like some male pop star of high influence, or like whatever. I don't even know who the male equivalent of that would be. Like, you know, but like it seems like shit like that pisses people off, and like it took nothing away from the game for me. You know,
right?
Because I could care less. I'm there to watch the game, not her. And when she's on the screen, it's like she was on the screen for 4 seconds and she's gone.
Right.
And I'm back to football.
Right.
You know, they showed her reacting to her boyfriend catching a pass for big game. And we're back to football.
Right.
You know, if it wasn't her, it would be somebody else. That has been done in NFL games for years because of what, even though it's unscripted, they still want to tell a story. So here's so-and-so's mom and their dad and so-and-so's dad, and they're watching the game. So you get reactions from them every time they make a play.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how this shit works. It just so happens the biggest pop star in the world is dating the best tight end in the game.
Yeah.
But we're mad about it.
It's like when Michael Jackson dated Cordell Stewart.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
It's like when Courtney Love allegedly killed Kurt Cobain.
Right.
You know.
No, I think it's cool. Actually.
Yeah, I have no problem with it, but like there is a massive problem men seem to be having.
Yeah.
With anything female. Like, I don't get it. Like, I'm not going to pretend like I'm this ultra civilized person, but like at the same time, I'm like, you know, if she's getting millions of young girls to watch football, and they're spending money on football, that's just good for football.
Right.
I heard, I didn't get a chance to look this up, but I heard on the radio today. They said the top 100 programs, like the most viewed programs of 2023, 93 of them were NFL games.
Right.
3 of them were college football games. So, and then also you throw in the Super Bowl pregame show. So technically, out of 100, 97 of those programs were football related.
Right.
Like, it's the biggest thing in the world. You know, I mean, and so if you don't want to watch the Super Bowl because of Taylor Swift, by all means, you go ahead, because somebody's daughter took your place.
Right. Exactly. Anyway. All right.
Anyway.
Off of football.
Off of this, I mean, getting political. We never get political, but I don't feel it's political. I feel it's just dumb.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, if you don't want to see the Marvels because it's literally a bad movie, I understand that. Like, that makes complete sense to me.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to see the Marvels because you feel it's Disney going woke and forcing, 3 women down your throat, and and one of them's a Hindu. Shut up.
Yeah.
Like, just shut up.
Yeah.
Because you're stupid.
Yeah.
Like I said, Madam Web, 4 women are the stars. It looks like a horrible movie.
Yeah.
Not because there are 4 women in it, because it looks like a horrible fucking movie.
Yeah.
If they made a good movie, I would go see it.
Right. Let's see what happens when it comes out.
Madam Web?
Yeah.
Oh, it's out right now.
Oh, has there been tomatoes on it?
I have heard mixed things. I've heard some people say it's all right, and I've heard some people say it was like watching porn dialogue.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Let me look it up here so I can find.
That's rough.
Yeah. So Madam Web. On IMDb, the Metacritic score is 27.
Wow.
And it's got 3.8 out of 10 stars.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's lower than Venom.
Yeah.
Venom was the middle of the pack, I think. I don't remember what Venom stuff was. I was seeing Venom regardless.
Yeah, I understand that.
I mean, it's a character I read. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just translated so well for me.
Like I said, I didn't think Venom was bad. I just didn't think it was good either.
Well, it was the villain that sucked, but Carnage was good.
Carnage was really good. And then Morbius was like, meh.
It's a 5 for me.
Yeah, I mean, 4.5, 5.
It entertained me.
Yeah. But I mean, I go back to it's the problem with Sony.
Right.
And I just don't trust them. And that trailer, you kind of you were pumped for it a little bit. You're like, yeah, this doesn't look bad.
Morbius?
No, for Madam Web.
Yeah, I am. I still want to see it.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know if I'll see it in the theater, but I want to see the movie. That's not a lie. I want to see it.
well, I mean, I'll watch it, but I ain't paying to see it in the theater either.
No, I get you.
There's almost you kind of have to watch it.
Right.
But I'm not gonna give good money to see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wish I had seen the Marvels in a theater. It was that good. I enjoyed it that much.
Right.
Because I like the interplay between the 3 main characters. The villain, extremely forgettable.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everything, that's the sad part. That if Marvel has an Achilles heel, it is for the most part they can't write a villain.
Yeah, they can't. And now that it's with Disney now, I don't know. Disney's had some good villains. I mean,
yeah.
I was thinking. Well, I'm not just name calling villains, but Pirates of the Caribbean. Right?
Yeah. Barbosa's a great villain.
Right. The first 2, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
I forget because there's been so fucking many of them.
Okay, well, you look at the first 3, because they all kind of work in conjunction with each other. You got Barbosa in the first one. Then it's Davy Jones in the second and the third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those characters are such good villains.
Yeah.
Barbosa's a great villain.
Barbosa's a fantastic villain.
And Davy Jones comes across almost like a Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this long lost love that he lost, and he's just sad.
Yeah.
But when even from the films, when he gets angry,
yeah,
tentacles fly.
yeah,
I love that character. Loved him. I thought, man, this character is incredible.
Very well done.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And after they just fell off the tank, but
yeah,
but it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I thought they were doing pretty good with Kang. And I just watched Guardians 3 again, too. And he was a good villain.
He was.
I hated that motherfucker.
Yeah.
I did. I mean, I absolutely hated him. And like, to bring out that much hate.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
I agree, because it's like...
And then to hear, what's-her-name say, he had it worse than Thanos did to me.
Yeah.
What's her name? Gamora's sister.
Nebula.
Yeah, when Nebula said that.
Yeah.
She said that. She was like, yeah, it's way worse. I'm paraphrasing, but it's way worse than what Thanos did to me.
Yeah.
On what happened to Rocket.
Yeah.
You hated him even more.
Right, yeah.
And when he started screaming at him when the otter got shot and everybody got shot.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to fucking kill you. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I was so...
That was the rare villain. Because, like, other villains, you mostly are like, we like them because it's like we kind of agree with them, but it's like, yeah, you're going about it all wrong. This was like the one villain you're like, you are a motherfucker and you deserve to die.
Right.
Like, even Lee Pace's character in the first Guardians movie. Like, I didn't hate him, but man, he was a good villain.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, but this guy, like, he was fucking horrible. You know, I agree with you 100%. But that's rare for Marvel.
Right. I know it is. I know.
Like, most of their villains are forgettable.
Yeah. No, I know.
And that's sad. I mean, there are a few that stick out. But, overall, it's like, and we're moving on.
Right.
Right. So, I think that's it. Anything you'd like to add to the proceedings there, sir?
That's all you got?
Yeah.
I did want to bring up something.
Okay.
Did you ever consider playing D&D again? I know we touched on it. And like, how would we dungeon master that? I mean, would you dungeon master that?
Well, I mean, the thing would have to become, number one, I'd have to go and get the books.
Yeah.
So, right off the bat, I think the deterring factor is money.
Right.
Because you'd have to invest not only me in at least 3 to 5 books to properly dungeon master.
Right.
But, like, you would need at least a player's handbook.
Right.
Anybody else who is playing would have to have a copy of that.
Yeah.
Like, and we'd all have to become familiar with the rules again.
Yeah.
Like, because it has, from the time I played, and when I quit playing, version 3 was just coming out. I was playing version 2. Because, like, when I started playing basic Dungeons and Dragons, and advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and then they came out with advanced D&D version 2. And when I kind of stopped playing version 3 to come out, I think now they're up to version 5.
Right.
So the rules have changed a great deal. So it would require, like, I would have to sit down and fully immerse myself into, like, the Dungeon Master's Guide and the Player's Handbook to kind of relearn the rules, because the rules aren't as simple as they were back when I played. So, like, that's the deterring factor. It's like, those books are like $30 a piece.
Right.
Right. So just like from my standpoint, like, because I feel like I would need the player's handbook, the Dungeon Master's Guide, the monster manual, which and like probably two other books that you'd probably like look at and say, okay, those are books you have to kind of do this right. Right. And you have to read them all. Like, so, like, it would be time and money would be the deterring factor. And, like, now, if I was just, like, if I knew somebody who was playing, like, I would still go out and, like, buy at least a player's handbook so I can sit down and read the rules, like understand like how the game works again.
Yeah.
Outside of my very basic knowledge from back when I played.
Right. I was just curious.
I mean, on the other side of that is like time.
Right.
Because like now you're saying to yourself, like I want to commit a day and like 4 to 5 hours of that day.
Right.
Because that's how long it takes to play.
Okay.
Like, because like you get off track, you end up talking, you know, you get back to the game, like you know, it's that thing of like, because you're a gathering of friends who you want to enjoy the company of.
Right.
So it's like, so now I'm gonna commit myself to like, okay, every Sunday I need 4 to 5 hours of my day that I'm willing to commit to this, and you know, and I don't. Again, that's the other side of like, am I willing to do that? Well, that I don't know. You know, probably not.
Okay. Yeah, I got you.
Why do you want to play?
I don't know. There's an urge there. I don't know why. A little bit. Why not?
I'd suggest go and get a copy of Skyrim. That'll scratch the itch for you, trust me.
Nice.
Or Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
I heard that's very popular.
Or Diablo.
Yeah. But like, no, like I mean, it is that thing though of like role playing games like that. You don't understand like the time and money you kind of have to put into it. Like it's not so much if you're just a player, but even like as a player, like I had like back then, I had like 10 or 15 books.
Right.
You know, I had like the Dungeon Master's Guide, I had the Player's Handbook, I had the Monstrous Manual 1, Monstrous Manual 2, the Fiend Folio, like, you know, there was a bunch of stuff I had to fully immerse myself in the game.
Right.
But I also, at that time, I had disposable income and I had time.
Right.
You know, now disposable income is much more limited, and so is my time as an adult, which is like horrific to even like.
Sucks.
It does. Like, you know, like 40 hours a week. You know, you're working. You know, after that, you've got X amount of time left for sleep and whatever else you do.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
I get it.
Yeah. So. Like people fascinate me who are like those people who get up like super early and like take their dog for a walk and then like come home and you know have a cup of coffee, they shave, like all the stuff like people like normal people do like fascinate me because I can't imagine doing that.
Right.
Like before you leave for work, you have already had a day. You've been up for like 3 hours, and then you're going to drive an hour to go into work.
Yeah.
You know, you're like,
yeah.
That fascinates me. You know, whereas like with me, like, I mean, I work from home, and like I don't have the energy to shave every day.
Right.
You know.
I know. I don't know. I know. I get it.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it is that odd thing, like how is your time divvied up, and like. I'm horrible with time management, apparently.
Right.
Like, you know.
No, you're not. You can't be.
Well, I am, because, like, I'm great with time management within the confines of my job. I'm horrible with time management in the confines of my life.
Okay.
Because it's like I get up at, like, you know, 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm at work at 1:30. I work till 10 o'clock. From 10 o'clock, I'm up till 2 o'clock. You know, like, that's, like, you know, how my day is divvied up. And I'm sure there's probably people will be like, well, if you got up at 8 o'clock, you could do X, Y. Like, yeah, you're probably right, but you know, like it's weird.
I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning.
Wow.
Wide awake.
Yeah.
And then, as my mom used to say, I rested my eyes around 8:30.
Yeah.
So about 9:30.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But Ugh.
Well, I mean, I woke up at 5:30, got up, went to the bathroom, came back, laid back down, went back to sleep.
No, I get that. I mean, but I'm used to getting up that early anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, getting up before 8 is not uncommon.
Right.
So anyway, enough about our routines.
Yeah.
Let's end this fucker.
All right. Well, remember there are a number of different ways you can reach out and touch us.
Hey.
You can send us an email, and that email address is pittsburghnerd@yahoo.com. You can also find us on social media. We're very easy to find. Just search Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, or Mastodon. And we are a number of podcasting networks. You can find us on the Tangent Bound Network, the Weeby Geeks Network, and the Pod Breed Network. And you can also look them up to find all the other great podcasts they have to offer. And lastly, as always, want to thank you, dear listener, for taking the time to check us out each and every week. We can't thank you enough for your patronage and or your support.
Yes.
And so on that note, the dreamer has awakened.
Peace.